Hi, Roger Fraser here for Gay Liberation Network, and I'm interviewing today a very interesting person. Um, Her name is Kasey White, and she's a star performer in a movie called The Homestretch, which I saw last night, and she's got a story to tell. And largely that's what we're going to do tonight is we're going to listen to Kasey's story, um, featured in the movie, uh, The Homestretch. Kasey, tell us about your life. Tell us about how you came to be in a movie and what your life was, how it depicts a very interesting life.
Well, I came to be about in the movie when I was staying in a transitional living program, which is called Teen Living Programs. I was staying in a Belfort house, and two directors approached me. They really wanted to hear my story and to see what was really going on with homeless youth here in Chicago. So I gave them the time to film me, and in the movie it follows me from being in a transitional living building into moving into my own stable living program. It shows a lot of periods throughout my life where it shows that I actually graduated out of high school because I had dropped out when I was younger. So it follows me through some very intimate points of my life, and it shows my growth from homelessness to stability.
Great. You're also an LGBT uh, advocate. Tell us something about that too.
Yes, well, also in the movie, it shows that I am a part of the LGBTQ community. It was the whole reason to why I became homeless. My mother put me out because she couldn't accept the fact that I am a lesbian. So it follows me with dealing with that as well. I became an advocate for the LGBTQ community because it's my community, and the rights that they fight for, I also fight for. So I have to be active in my community when it comes to certain things that they're fighting for, especially when it comes to being a homeless youth. I was also a homeless youth, and a large percent of youth that are homeless are gay because their families can accept who they are, so they end up on the street. So it's like being homeless and being gay are two separate things, but it's also one thing because it's harder for LGBTQ youth to get housing. So it also shows that. So I advocate for that because I was part of that circumstance.
Of course. Uh, Case, um, what about uh, can you give the audience a little bit of idea? How old were you when your mother basically kicked you out of the house? How what were you what was your age?
I would say I was 18. Well, actually, I was 17, a couple of months from 18. When she first put me out of her residence, I was living with my grandmother for about a year before I got into the teen living program. So I was 17 when I first became homeless, and when I moved into the teen living program, I was roughly like 18, 19.
How old are you now?
I will be 24 next month.
24. You know, one of the most remarkable things about the movie, what it depicts, is that I always had an idea that people on the street were under tremendous pressures just to survive. Not only did you survive, but I mean you actually stayed enrolled in school in the Chicago public schools. Tell us about how difficult that was. Did you graduate?
I actually did graduate. When I became homeless, I actually did drop out of high school because of the worrying of where I'm going to sleep and things like that. It was never really like a problem to where I was going to sleep. It was the safety sometimes. But I did enroll back into school to get my high school diploma, and I ended up graduating in June 2011. When I got back into school, I went through the whole high school process again, but I had so many credits to where I could graduate very, very fast.
Yeah, what is it about you though that persisted? I mean, the resilience and the resourcefulness of having to stay in shelters and be on the street, and yet the discipline you must have exercised to go to get to school each day and get your homework done. I mean, that's difficult even for kids who who have regular lives and a lot of support systems from parents and so on. You had to do that all on your own. Do you feel that made you a much stronger and molded your character in a positive way?
Yeah, but the thing about it was I didn't really have to do it on my own because I had a very, very large support system when I was staying in the shelter. It's like when you're a homeless youth, no matter the reason why you're on the street, you all have a similar story, and that similarity in your story is that you're staying in a shelter or a transitional living building. And you tend to bond with those people in that building because you have that similarity. You feel that nobody understands you. So it's a lot of people around your age who are going through the same things, who are getting back in school around the same time you are, and you're going to the same school. You may be in the same alternative school. So we have that support system. And that's what keeps you going, because you see your friends trying to better themselves too.
Got it.
And the staff were a major support system. They shared a lot of encouraging words.
I think, we've got a caller. This is a call-in show. We welcome your calls. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I think we're fine.
I'm fine.
You're doing an excellent job. I'm glad that you done got your life together, even though the obstacles that you had to deal with.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, because there are some people out there went the wrong route, alcohol, stealing, getting in jail. And I'm glad that you did the positive things to get your life together. So can you talk about how some people went the wrong route out there and really didn't get their stuff together, and as far as you took the right route, as far as other people out there doing drugs, alcohol, stealing, gangbanging? So can you talk on the negative, as far as the positive, for the people out there?
I can definitely do that. So me personally, I use my resources that I was given when I was staying in a transitional building to get into a stable housing. I see people now that I saw 4 years ago that are still on the street today in the same situation, trying to get the same resources that they were getting years ago when we all were homeless. And sometimes I sit back and look, and like, some people let their circumstances become their life. They let what's happening to them be their comfortability. So a lot of people get comfortable with bouncing from place to place to place and getting these resources because some of them feel that they don't have a responsibility that they're going to be taken care of anyway because they have these resources. But some do let, even in the sex story, some people end up back in the same situation because they were doing the things they were doing prior to them getting stable. So it just depends on the person and how they go about their situation and when they get on feet and how they can maintain staying stable.
Thanks a lot. We've got a few announcements at this point that we want to take up here. On International Human Rights Day, it says no more war, U.S. out of the Middle East. And that's at 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, December 10th. The movie that Kasey stars in is the Homestretch, and it'll be showing between Friday, November 21st and Wednesday, November 26th at the Gene Siskel Film Center. Tickets are available by going online at the address, the website on your screen. And of course, Night Ministries. This is we raised some money for these folks last night at the film. these are heroes.
Yeah, I love
These,
how you mentioned.
oh, they are heroes, and it was very evident from the movie that these people are unsung heroes, the real heroes of Chicago. You know, aren't down at the city council. They're not in the mayor's office. They're up there. What street is that? Broadway?
Yes.
Yeah, Broadway. Great organization. And so. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's get a little context here. You talk about resources, and there's a great support system, but you know there's 22,144 youths homeless in the Chicago public school system last year. Now, you know, where are the resources that are going to help them? You got help, others might get help, but you know, is there enough? There's enough to finance the new DePaul basketball arena by McCormick Place. You know, with TIF funds that should go to poverty, and I guess Borders before it closed, they got a lot of dough too, right? They got a lot of money. Developers of the Borders in Uptown, $7 million in TIFs. Why? And then it closed. And of course, the Mercantile Exchange, you know, that blighted area downtown, they certainly deserve $15 million for remodeling. And of course, they turned around and are contributing to the mayor's campaign, we're happy to say. So, you know, of course I'm sarcastic on here because, you know, instead of resources in this city and in this state going to those who can most use them, I mean, ordinary folks, ordinary citizens who can put those resources to use like you did. Instead, it goes to the wealthiest and most powerful interests in this city and state. What do you think about that?
Well, I have a lot to think about that because considering where the money could go, a lot of the organizations that are out here right now, a lot of those foundation funds were cut. So even when I was staying in the teen living programs, a lot of our programs were cut, like our culinary program, our recreational program, our educational program, because a lot of the government funding was cut and they couldn't support those programs anymore. And we try to raise the funding for the programs because, of course, we do need more models and things like that, but we also need the funding to the programs that are original models so we can continue helping them.
We got another caller. Let's take this call.
Kasey, you are absolutely one beautiful person.
Thank you.
I am so proud of you for surviving and for doing the things that you're doing to take care of yourself. It's a wonder. You know, and I'm listening to you guys talking about the homeless situation with young gay people, at LGBTQ, if whatever you want to call it. You know what? They keep you homeless because you can become a voting bloc if they ever gave you housing, and you could vote the people out that spend the money on those frivolous, simple matters that do nothing but, like the man said, support the 1%. So keep on fighting, baby. I believe in you, and I really hope you make it.
Thank
But
you.
You're making it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's a great call, and thank you very much. You know, Lo, I did some work statistics. I looked up some statistics. Are you aware that 86% of the students in the Chicago public schools are low income? You know, low income students. 86%.
That does not shock me at all,
No,
considering I was one of those percentage of the students who were in the low income housing.
Right. It really is shocking, and yet that 86% is a fairly stable number. It's been 86% since about 2000. The increase, the huge increase in low-income students has occurred not so much in Chicago, it's occurred downstate and also in the suburbs. To give you an example, School District 62, which is Des Plaines, which is a quintessential middle-class neighborhood, that they have 11 schools, and they've seen an increase in low-income students of 250%. You know, it's really staggering. It's really staggering how poverty. You know, we got an education crisis, okay? But you know, the education crisis is really a poverty crisis. You know, everybody knows that, you know, you can't get achievement out of students who come from situations that are dysfunctional, and there's no money in the household, no disposable income. You know, I taught in Chicago. I remember little Carol Parada back in the 1970s. This kid, she had holes in her shoes, you know, walking to school with big school, as big as 50-cent pieces. How could a third grader come to school and be expected to learn when her feet were just, you know, unbelievably cold? Come on. What's that about? You know? And if things changed that dramatically since the 1970s, I think they're worse.
Totally worse.
Are you working now? Do you have do you have a job?
No, I do not have a consistent job, but I do work. I do some consistent work. It'd be like temporary work sometimes, but I stay above water. I keep to maintain my income.
Got it. You know, I'd like to go on, but you know, we gotta close, and we got some announcements to go over again. Case. So let me get these announcements clear, and then we'll have a wrap up. Go ahead.
All right.
The Homestretch movie, once again, Friday, November 21st through Wednesday, November 26th. Check this movie out. It'll move you. If you've been moved tonight, you'll be deeply moved tomorrow. Gene Siskel Film Center. Check out the website for tickets at the bottom of your screen. And again, I want to make a plug for Night Ministry. We raised almost $300 for them last night. They need every cent that we can marshal for them. As I say, we haven't got the big bucks. They're down at the Mercantile Mart, but whatever you can do on behalf of this Night Ministry, and call them up and ask and volunteer. You know, meet people like Kasey. And then too, you know, let's face it, on International Human Rights Day, no more war. How much funding goes to, you know, our wars? What is it? Like, I think it's $8 million a day to fight enemies so-called enemies in the Middle East. U.S. out of the Middle East. Be there at 5:30 p.m. at Wednesday, December 10th. And finally, there's 7 p.m. Wednesday. That's our meetings, GLN meetings. The first Wednesday, the next meeting is going to be December 3rd. Be there. Help us do the organizing that needs to be done in this city to get change, to get real progressive change. We can only do it ourselves. We can't rely on us politicians. And Gay Liberation Network on CAN TV. The next GLN show on CAN TV is going to be 6:30 p.m. Friday, December 12th. I want to thank you, Kasey. You're an inspiration to all of us, as you could tell from these calls. Thanks again for being here. And special thanks too to Bob Schwartz for bringing me here, and for Andy Thayer taking phone calls. And to all the staff of CAN TV, thanks a lot. And we'll see you, I think, what was it, the 21st, I think, right? And see you at our next meeting, folks.